Muted. Okay, there you go. It is Wednesday again, week edition number 2, and let me see who is online. Can't see anybody here. Rachel is here. Chiwa is here. Hi. Let me see now. I can see the comments here. Okay, there you go. All right. So it is Wednesday. Let me get a cup of coffee. And we're going to go through the usual Ask Me Anything Wednesday. For those of you who are new to me, my name is Andrew, and I am basically the email guy, and I focus on helping businesses to how do you call it? To basically it's not my day. To build better relationships with your audience, and so that it becomes effortless to sell and with your audience. Okay, so with that, I want to check with you guys. Do you prefer this live stream or you prefer a Zoom meeting? Personally, for me, I prefer Zoom because then I can get to see your face, and when I explain stuff, I can actually look at you and see whether you understand or not. Okay, so let me know if you prefer Zoom. Then maybe we'll try next week. Right? I'll be appearing every week on Wednesday anyway, so we can always try different formats and different methods. Okay, so with that, let's go through the introduction. Let me share my screen. Let's go to the slides. No, we're not going to go to slides. We go share screen. All right. Let me see screen number 1. All right. Let me get rid of this so that we can get a bigger view. You guys can see the screen? Right. So I do, basically I have 2 email newsletters. One is to cater to B2B, and another one is for B2C businesses. And there are slight differences. That's why I decided to break them into 2 different segments, because the way you approach B2B customers, the selling, the cycle of selling is longer. And whereas in B2C, being on the decision making is basically the guy or girl who is basically reading your emails or going to your landing page and all those things, and they are in charge of their wallet. So it's quite straightforward for them to make a decision whether to buy from you or to follow you and all those things. Whereas in B2B, you generally have a so-called a committee of members, from people from finance, people from procurement and all those things, and each of the emails has to be customized accordingly in order for you to get a maximum effect or benefit from your email marketing. Okay, so if you're interested I write for B2B, I write on Tuesday and Thursday. For B2C, I send my emails out on Monday and Wednesday. And if you like to basically get more free tips on email marketing, and I'll share also some of the results or experimentation that I do, and you get it for free. So if you like to, you're welcome to join my newsletter. Just scan, you can scan one or scan both if you want, up to you. The QR code here, and basically will lead you to a simple sign up form. All right, I'll be asking you for your email, obviously, because I'll be sending you stuff, and also your name. And I think that's about it. Okay, so with that being said, let's move on to the next one. Can I put this? And I'm moving. Okay. I do most of my posting nowadays. I think since middle of last year, I've decided to concentrate primarily on one platform. I mean, one person, there's only so much you can do. So what I do is I spend more time now on LinkedIn. I think if you heard my AMA last week, the thing that you need to be aware of is when you use social media, and unless you have a team, unless you're like Gary Vee and you have like a team of 30 people behind you, then yes, you can basically go omnipresent across multiple channels or platforms. But in most cases, we are not Gary Vee. Okay, so what I would do is to look at the platform where your customers tend to hang out, or your ideal customers tend to hang out, and that's where you pick that particular platform, build a presence there, And once you have more capacity, for example, and then or your content is ready to be repurposed, then you can actually go through the other platforms. So for me, for now, I would spend most of my time and energy on LinkedIn. And if you are on LinkedIn and you like to connect with me, and my content that I post on LinkedIn is slightly different from the content from newsletter. So because each platform has its own slight nuances on content, so you got to adjust accordingly. You can't just copy and paste and then just go the same, right? So if you're on LinkedIn and you like to basically connect with me, you can just scan on this QR code. It links you to my LinkedIn profile page. Just hit that bell button if you don't want to connect with me and you just want to check me out and just want to see what I do and all the stuff before you go to the next level. And press that bell button. Apparently now LinkedIn has this function, bell button, and you can basically, whenever I post something up, you'll be notified. All right. So no risk, no pressure, and it's a good way to expand your network and connections. Okay. So with that, should we go on to the first question? Why is this not moving? Let's see, because I could do this. There you go. All right. So I've got this question from Eric. And his question is, I know email marketing is great and all, but what are some of the best use cases for email marketing? Now that's an awesome question. That's a great question. And I'm going to start by sharing my iPad. And how am I going to do this? Because I'm going to start writing. There you go. Okay, so we can see this. All right. So there are a few things, few areas or so-called few cases where email works is very, very effective. All right. The first one, if you are in a business where you have move this up a bit. Okay, when your business which require long sales cycles, and generally this would be the B2B side, okay, or if you're in B2C, you're selling high ticket items. Okay, now the reason why email is great for this, because it allows you to send basically multiple emails or campaigns where you can basically explain each and every one of your features or your product features and benefits, and you can basically take time to send this to slowly build that understanding of your product or services. Okay, so long sales cycle products, high ticket items, email is awesome, because how often you want to go live, and then when you go live, you can only reach, not everybody is going to watch your live, and even if they watch replay, there's only so much they can take within a half an hour. That's why this particular segment I've decided to bring it down to half an hour, so that it's quick and easy, because everybody is busy, right? So long sales cycles is one option. The other one is if you need to educate your audience. Okay, these are products which are a little bit more, let's say, complex. For example, stuff like IT security, or you have a new authentication products, for example, or something technical. Okay, so this one, and especially it's something that is not commonly used, or something revolutionary, for example, that you need to basically tell them the story behind it, to build anticipation, for example, and to build awareness, for example. Okay, so this is at the stage of building awareness. Then emails would be great for you to use in this scenario. Okay, the third one, which I'm sure you have seen this, is for SaaS. All right, software as a service. Most of us, for example, calendars. We have some productivity tools, for example. So what they do in using email is basically for onboarding. Okay, for example, the moment you sign up a trial, and they want to take you through some of the features, for example. Although on page itself, on a product itself, they may have some tutorials and all those things. But most cases, it's good to just repeat the whole process for them. So what you do is you send an email, all right? Okay, and for example, the first email will be, okay, here's your login, here's your, for example, your credentials, and if you're on trial, and then they will tell you basically you're on trial for 14 days, 30 days, or whatever it is. And then the next email will start with maybe the most important features, or they think it's the most important features, and they'll explain to you and take you through and give you a link to go back to your stuff. The idea is, by using email, is to get you to be familiarized, because end of the day, the value of the SaaS product is if you find it useful and you're using it, okay, then only you will subscribe, obviously. But if you subscribe for a product and you don't use it, and there's no encouragement from the vendor to actually get you to use it, or some education process, then obviously, in this case, your SaaS product will probably not be taken up. Okay, so onboarding, basically training, for example. And if you have, for example, a membership site, email is also great, because the critical period for membership is basically the first 2 weeks, right? They're excited, they sign up for it, they want to go through all your products, for example, all your tutorials and all these things. But the problem is, once they land in, there are so many items or so many products or videos that you have, they get overwhelmed, right? And over time, because they really don't know where to start, and without the support and basically the guidance from your emails, they will find it, although the value, all the content of your memberships, the content inside your membership site is awesome and all these things, but there's nobody to guide them, right? It's just like, you go to a massive a theme park, right? You have all the rides and all those things, and if there's no proper guidance as to which one you should start first, or basically say, are you afraid of heights, for example, then they will give you the different rides, for example, or you prefer a thrill seeker, then they will recommend you to go for the roller coaster and all those things. So with that's where email for membership site are useful, because you can then guide them use email as your guide to take them through your membership site, right? Number 4, you want to build authority, right? Or maybe your brand. And for example, what I do is, with my newsletter, is to share with you tips, and by virtue of doing that, it's basically my way of showing my skills, and my way of showing basically my understanding of the area of domain that I choose to be in, which is basically email marketing. So if you're a coach, if you're a trainer, or if you want to basically build an audience for, if you're a book writer, for example, if you have certain things that you want to teach, and emails will be great, because it is, like I say, it's a very low risk. They get to consume your content for free, and if they don't like it, they can always unsubscribe, right? But if they like it over time, when you release your paid products, when you release your books, for example, and that's where it is easier for them to make that decision to buy. Okay, so building authority is one. And then obviously, in this day of COVID, I'm sure you have seen this, e-com sites, right? So e-com sites is not about just doing promotions or selling you the latest stuff. The real value of email, the way I look at it, is basically when you do, when you add to cart, but you didn't buy, or you forgot to buy, or you delay, right? So email will be used to trigger that reminders for you and says, hey, you left something inside your cart, would you like to continue to purchase, right? Or either, for example, if they browse to a site, okay, these are tied to certain so-called e-com emails. They have this capability that the moment you sign up as a member, and if you go to their website, you browse certain things, they will be able to, there's a cookie that they can track, and then you can actually trigger an email and to tell you, hey, you've looked at this particular item, and by the way, we have a sale coming up, or we have a 30% off. Basically, this is to trigger impulse purchase. Okay, so emails can be used in e-com, can be used this way. Okay, so what else? The third one is, okay, the last one. I do take note that this is not, the exhaustive list, but generally the things that comes to mind immediately when you think about the use of emails, these are the 6 items. Okay, if you are in the business of customer retention, which I think most of you do, right? Okay, and you do cross sells and you have upsells. So the moment somebody buys something from you, you want to maintain or basically build on that relationship, right? To basically sell them other stuff, to cross-sell other things within your inventory, for example. Okay, so unless I call it, unless you are in the hit and run business, okay, where somebody buys from you one time and basically you know very well that the other will come back to you, or basically to you is you just want to chase the next new customer by running ads and all those things. If you're in that kind of business, which is very obviously unsustainable, but if you're in that kind of business, then obviously emails will be something, it's rather superfluous, right? You probably won't need it. But if you're the type that you want to build on your customers over a long term, to sell them more stuff, to get them to buy more, for example, and that's where email can actually use to basically help you to retain your customers. And because it is obviously 7 times more costly to attain a new customer, so when you have one, you got to treasure them, right? And because it's a vote of confidence, the fact that somebody took out their credit card and pay something from you, irrespective whether it's 100,000 or 1,000 or $1, for example, it is still a vote of confidence on you, on your product and your service. Okay, so it is your responsibility as a business person to actually maintain a relationship so that you can go deeper with them. All right. So with that, Eric, I hope I've answered your question. And let me go back to, let me stop this first. All right. Stop this for a minute. There you go. Cool. I'm getting used to this now. So the next question is from Kati. And the question is basically, how often should we send out emails? And wouldn't the subscribers be unhappy or unsubscribe or report spam? Okay, Kati, this is one of the more frequently asked questions, especially for somebody who's going to start, basically start emails. Let me see, can you see the screen? Tap this. Oh, there you go. Okay, cool. Let me go to the next page. Right. So, to answer your first question about frequency, I have 3 levels. Well, for me, I will classify the 3 levels for the way how frequent that you can send emails. Okay, 1 is called crazy mode. The other one is called strategic, and the third one is called a sane mode. Okay, so make this slightly bigger. So the crazy mode, according to my opinion, is you actually send daily, right? Like generally what I do. I write my emails daily, but most of my subscribers probably won't get it because either you're in B2C or B2B group, or unless you subscribe for both, then you get daily from Monday to Friday. Okay, and then the next one is strategic, which normally the middle ground is you send 3 times a week. Okay, and the idea of why 3 times a week is because you have that builds up a reasonable amount of in-your-face frequency with your prospects or with your customers, right? And you show up. The idea is to show up, right? And the key thing I used to use is the keyword called mental availability. By virtue of you showing up in their inbox 3 times a week throughout the whole year, and obviously you vary yourself with different type of contents and all those things. When they may not buy now, okay, you can make offers they may not buy now, but the idea is because of your frequency, when they are looking, when they're in a position where they need a service, that is that you can offer, they will be able to think about you, and you become the top of their the so-called their recall, and that's where they reach out to you. Okay, so email, like I say, is a long-term game. So what you do is, by if you can do 3 times a week, which is great, that way you can actually get closer. Daily would be awesome, but it is not for everyone. Okay, unless you have a team, and coming up with content is also a challenge. Obviously, I understand that. So 3 times a week. But if you're in the same mode, then at the very least, you do 1 times a week. Okay, 1 times a week you can do basically the newsletter mode. There's a difference between newsletter and email marketing generally. So email marketing is what I do. I just send an email to all of you and say, hey, I'm going on live within the next 30 minutes. Okay, that's a broadcast email to everyone. But if I do my B2C or B2B, it's basically an email to a different segment of groups. But when you do newsletter, it's like basically a summary of content for the week. So if you are in the authority building business, for example, or you are into the B2B, for example, then you want to send once a week a summary of some of the key items or curated content that you have, including the products that you may want to promote, for example. And then basically that is what you call a newsletter, all right? As opposed to one single subject, one single item, and that's what email marketing does. Okay, so if you do once a week, then do the newsletter format, compile certain contents, add value to the users, and not just focus on selling, and then give them, basically for them is when they read this email, they actually learn something new or they discover something new. Okay, and that's where the real value of your emails will come into play. Now, the next question is, if you're worried about people unsubscribing or you're worried about customers being unhappy, well, if your content is lousy, or if your content is always buy me, buy me, buy me, yes, your subscribers would be unhappy. I mean, put yourself in their shoes. If I want to send you every day or every 3 times a week, for example, and all I say is, hey, I have this course, buy now. All right, or I have this, buy now, and nothing else. Every time an email from Andrew is buying something or encouraging you to get something from me, obviously you won't be very happy, and then basically you would either two things: either unsubscribe, or either you report me as spam. Right? If you don't know me, or if I don't build basically the welcome sequence, for example, if I don't build that relationship early with you, you're going to say that I just because I wanted a lead magnet, and now you're bombarding me with emails almost every day asking me to buy something from you. I don't even know you. All right. So with that, then yes, your customers or your prospects will be happy and they will subscribe, or at worst, they will report you as spam. So that's why one thing I would encourage you, if you do email marketing, is a lot of people, I noticed some, now lesser, all right, in the early days, they would hide that unsubscribe button all the way to the back, to the bottom, right? So that you see the content, and you put a lot of space in between, and then they put that unsubscribe button to the bottom, or either they make it super small, right? So that the worry is, they don't want you to unsubscribe. Okay, so conversely, the proper practice is this: you're gonna make your unsubscribe as visible as possible, because it is better for them to press that unsubscribe button than they report you as spam because they cannot find the unsubscribe button. Okay, the damage to your email reputation or email domain reputation is the moment somebody reports you as spam, and the moment it goes more than 2%, it will then trigger basically your Google, your Gmail, your Yahoo Mail, for example, to take notice and say, okay, a lot of people that this guy is sending emails to have been reporting spam, right? And we may want to either drop their emails into the junk folder or block them altogether. But when you're unsubscribed, that's a normal process, right? Because you don't want people who have no interest in your product. It's better not to invade their inbox. Better to basically separate as friends, right? Because one day they may come back, they may not need it now. So unsubscribe. So try to make sure your unsubscribe is prominent as possible. Sometimes I may even write emails to actually encourage them to unsubscribe, because one, it costs me money to capture all this data, because you gotta pay the ESP for your subscribers, number one. Number two is, if they don't find value, there's no reason why you should be sending to them in the first place, right? It's not your fault, it's not their fault, it's just that timing is maybe not right. Okay, so Karthi, your questions, if you're crazy enough like I do, you can do daily. Okay, or if you want to be strategic, you do 3 times, because 3 times a week, for example, if you run campaigns. And the next thing, the other thing is this: when you run campaigns, you don't send with just one email, because not everyone is going to open your email. They may be your most engaged customers, but not everyone is going to open your email. Number one, because they don't just sit down there every day and look at the email inbox and hoping for your email. Okay, that's not going to happen. They got their own lives to do, they got their own things to do. So sometimes they miss, right? Because on average, each person gets about 80 to 100 emails a day. It is possible that they may miss your email. So when you send once and then you hope that people will respond, I can tell you, my friend, ain't gonna happen. So at least you try to send between, for a particular campaign, maybe 3 times to 5 times, right? So that's the benchmark, so that at any one time, if they miss maybe the first email or the second email, right, they would probably see the third one. And sometimes your subject lines, if your subject lines is not inspiring enough or doesn't create a curiosity, they may not open. They know you, but doesn't mean that they have an obligation to open your emails, right? So when you have 3 to 5 times, when you send emails 3 to 5 times, you have every chance for you to basically capture their attention. Okay, so that's why I call it strategic, because this one allows you to do a fair bit of stuff, and at the same time, without overloading your subscribers, if you're worried about that. Okay, but if you're really tight and you don't have much content to write, then at the very least, go for this one. All right. Okay, so we've got one last question to power through. Let's stop this. Let's go back to my screen. Let's see, do we have anyone more? Okay, so Christine asked about what is A/B testing and how should we use it in our emails. Any one of you familiar with A/B testing? If you are, you can type 1, but I don't think, okay, it's going to be a delay. So anyways, I'm just going to say it as it is. Let me see. Let's go back to my iPad. Okay, page 3. There you go. All right, let's talk about A/B testing. All right. Okay, some quick background. A/B testing is basically a term, or basically a method to use by basically what it says. Test this one against, test A against B, right? And in email marketing, generally you have 4 items that you can test. One is you test subject lines, right? For example, if you're not sure, let's say you want to send an email to 1,000 people, and you've got a campaign launch, for example, and you're not sure which of the subject lines is going to work. So what you do is, let's say you have subject line A, and you have subject line B. And because in marketing, in most cases, there's always this saying that, no matter how brilliant you are, it's not for you to decide what the market wants. The market will tell you. So what you do is, when you have 2 subject lines, you can run basically, let's say you've got a list of 1,000 subscribers. You're going to send subject A to 20%, and subject B, you're going to send to the other 20%, right? So basically, you're testing 40% of your 1,000 subscriber population. Let me get this one out. And your email or ESP systems, depending either you're on your free or paid. I think nowadays, most even on the free plan, they will allow you to do this. But all of them will have A/B testing, okay, feature within their service. So what you do is, subject line you send 20%, and subject B you send 30% of the audience. Your ESP will then decide. You can decide to measure the outcome based on open or based on click. Okay. So let's say now I'm going to say, give me the best one which, the best subject line that has the most higher or the highest opens, for example. Okay. So when the system runs, you can run it for, let's say, a day, or you can run it for a certain period of time. It could be 30 minutes to 40 minutes. Okay. Normally we'll give it about a day or 12 hours at the very least. And then the system will then go through, pick randomly 20% of your audience to send this. And then the moment they have the results, they come back and say, okay, for the open, based on the settings you have, is subject line A, for example. Now you know. Then what happens is, with this, your balance of your 60% of your audience will be sent through subject line A. And this is how you do A/B testing on your subject line. And similarly, when you do, the next thing that you can do is, if you want to try from name, okay? I did a test with a customer of mine. Previously, they will use basically team at company, for example, to send. Okay, and one of the campaign they ran, we decided to test and say, let's try on the from name related to the campaign. Okay, so we use a campaign name. Okay, for example, if I do, let's say, payday deals, for example, then I will just basically do payday, or payday news. Okay, I can use that as a from name. So now what we do is, we then test this against this and see which one has maybe opens or even clicks. All right, similar process as your subject lines. You can do that, and then once you get a result, and then the rest of your email list will be able to basically use the winning test results to actually send to the rest of your group. The third one is if you want to test basically your content. Right? For example, you want to write your two ideas for your content, and you're not sure which one actually works. So you can actually do an A/B test on your content. Right? Similarly, 20% of your audience, 20% random, and then you just send these two different content and you see which one. In this case, because content is deeper inside your emails, you want to track for click. Okay? Because open has no value. Open subject line, yes. You want to see which one that triggers people to want to open the emails with your subject line. But when you're looking at content or even the CTA, you want to see how effective is your content. That will basically get people to do the CTA. So what you do is, you then track for clicks. Okay, so you can do this. And finally, you can do CTA, right? Should I use a button for my CTA, or should I use a normal text link? Okay, that's one way to test. Or should I use red? Or should I use blue? Right? So you can actually try and do A/B tests on multitude stuff. Generally, these 4 items: your subject lines, your from name, your content, or even your CTA. Okay, so that's how you use A/B testing for you to get the best results for your email marketing. All right. Okay. Time's up. Awesome. So, if you have further questions that you want to basically ask me, you can scan this, right? Use your phone, pop up your phone. Where's my phone? Oh, shit. Scan this, and then it will lead you to a simple Google form where you can type in your questions, and I will go through them. And if I those that I need more research, for example, I'll guarantee you an answer. Or I'll try to guarantee you an answer. Okay, but I will definitely answer you, and I'll answer you next week. Okay, so with that, like I said, just a quick shout out. If you want to join my newsletters, please, B2B or B2C, I'm thinking of launching another newsletter. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. It's going to be something unique and an experiment I'm going to try. I'll let you know. If you're on my list, you'll be notified. Okay, and then if you're on LinkedIn and you like to connect with me, or you basically like to have more free resources on email marketing, do join me and do connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to have you on my network, and we can have conversations from there aside from emails. Okay, so with that, this is Andrew Wong signing off. Thank you so much for attending this AMA. I'll see you next week. Cheers.